Hello nerds and welcome to Into the Wild, your favourite wildlife and conservation podcast where we look at all things, well, wildlife and conservation.
This is a podcast of curiosity where we know we don't have all the answers.
Oh, that's my co-host Nadia, by the way.
Hi. But it doesn't really matter because we're here to learn and crucially listen to those who are affected by and closest to the issues that we as conservationists tend to pick over from our comfy living rooms.
So strap yourselves in, open up your luggles, grab a brew and join us as we geek out over nature, share our love for wildlife, rarely take ourselves seriously, all whilst learning. Oh, and we sometimes swear. Just so you know, I'm on borrowed time.
God, darling, what's happened?
It's 32 degrees
Yeah.
in London, and as we've started this, I've just turned the fan off for audio purposes.
Borrowed time.
And I don't know how long I've got.
Can I give you a tip for next time
Yeah?
the world burns?
Yes.
Wear a wet t-shirt.
It's not that kind of competition, mate. Do you know what? I actually poured myself a glass of cold water.
God, it's evaporated. There's about an inch left at the bottom of it.
That's warm in there now.
Yeah, it's not okay.
It's so hot. If halfway through this I have to take my shirt off, just so you know, that might happen.
Well, look, I will let the listeners know if I'm subjected in the workplace.
Yeah. I just don't want you to misread it as anything else other than heat exhaustion.
Do you think it'll make that much of a difference, Ryan?
I'd be willing to give it a go.
Okay. All right then. Well, I'll brace myself, seeing as you're on borrowed time. And, you know, as you always say, you're never dramatic. Or actually, do you know what? I'm going to give it to you. It is unbearably hot.
If I make it through the next 20 minutes, it's a godsend.
Okay, well, welcome listeners to a very sweaty, hot, rapido nature news.
It is funny though, isn't it? Because we got listeners in rural Namibia and I'm sat here in London saying it's hot.
We've got listeners in the tropics in Australia as well.
Yeah. Different heat though, innit?
It's different, and also...
It's a different heat.
It's different heat. But also, do you know what as well? People... Okay, there's westernized hot countries, swimming pools, air conditioning. Rural Namibia, people, I would say, we just go out and do our normal business and we're like, why is our body not feeling okay?
Struggling, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you can't just go and kick about all day doing things.
You can't, you absolutely can't.
Okay, I hope you've got some cool news.
Well, I hope so. Anyway, how are you, first of all?
I'm
How was your
also
weekend?
really hot, yeah. But I am in Spain.
You're in Spain. Innit?
I know, and I do keep going in the swimming pool to cool off. So again, I'm in a different situation, and also I've put the aircon on to record this, so I don't know why I'm giving you
grief. Is there
grief.
any more sentences you want to say that might piss me off?
No, I'm so sorry. Also, I'm just slow roasting some lovely Spanish tomatoes with garlic in the oven.
I could do that here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Oh, so I might be a bit slow. I've just got up from a siesta.
Do you know what I actually said to Emily a minute ago in the flat? I was like, I can't work in this.
It's true.
Genuinely, if, like, I don't know what they call themselves. Who's the people that, like, welfare check on staff came in? This flat would be too hot for people to work in.
Yeah, you'd be sent home, but you're in your home.
But I'm in it. Nowhere to send me, to the pub.
Let's
garden.
crack on then. So I take it your nature highlight of the week is going to be something hot related, is it?
Well, I don't know. Let's jump into our nature highlights and you shall find out. Right, my nature highlight. Well, as you know, I was at a dog festival in Windsor.
That sounds like there's hot marquees involved.
Do you know what? It wasn't the best organised, and there were a few concerns, but it was good fun. I saw a lot of beautiful, lovely dogs, and Riley got scouted for TV.
What?
I know. I can't even believe this is the first time I'm telling you this.
Oh my God! For those that don't know, Riley is Ryan's beautiful dog.
It's a beautiful dog. And it's just a lovely agency. They do the BAFTAs. They do Pets at Home adverts. They do a lot. They're one of the main ones. And they came up to her and said, she's gorgeous. I was like, I know. So later on this afternoon, I'm filling out the application form. Don't have to pay anything. Don't have to pay anything. No fees.
I tell you what. So you could be buying your dog food with Riley's face on.
I mean, if that's the case, I won't be buying it.
She's very photogenic. You have a Hawaiian shirt with her face all over it, don't you?
I absolutely do. Yeah. She is a brand. So, anyway, I was at the dog festival in Windsor, but my nature highlight whilst I was there was being in Berkshire. It's actually just really lovely to see all the red kites knocking about.
Oh,
there's so many of them. And they come down quite low because there's you've got Windsor Great Park nearby, and we saw quite a bit of a roadkill like muntjac deers and a few squirrels and stuff. So they fly very low on there, especially early in the morning. So yeah, that was my nature highlight.
They're just a beautiful bird. Isn't it funny now? They're just so common. In Spain, my nature highlight is there is a new. They've got so many. I'm not going to go for a bird one. Just to save your...
I thought you were going to go for swifts or something.
Do you know what? Swifts were basically the next one. There's an unfinished hotel, loads of controversy over like the funding, where's it gone? They're going to build it. And about 2,000 swifts have taken up residence in this abandoned hotel. Obviously, it's got no windows or doors, so they're going... Each of them's got their own suite. Like, it's amazing to see.
They're not fussy for windows and doors.
They're not, no.
The pool's not filled, but
let's make that my nature highlight. And then every night I'm going down a walk at the beach, like 9, 10 o'clock at night, because the temperature's bearable. And the screaming above my head set against this. I've just got to know, wait, one more. And then I would sit down, and then I just remembered another really nice highlight. So I'm looking at the swifts, then I sit down on the beach, like melancholic, very thoughtful, thinking about life, looking at the sunset and the sea. And then what should come next to me and start pecking away at seeds, just right next to me as I'm sat? A turtle dove. A little turtle dove. Just
that's nice.
Really nice. And then all these swifts and then turtle dove and... so uncommon in the UK, but this is a place in Spain where I regularly see turtle doves, and it's just such a beautiful bird.
Don't expect that from Malaga, do you?
Well, I'm a little bit, I'm 40 minutes from Malaga. I just say that,
I imagine you to be on the strip.
I think you do get them in Malaga as well.
Okay, well, I'm boiling. Shall we move on to nature news?
Let's get it.
Strap yourselves in. Grab your fans, your waters, your ice creams. It's time for week 21 of nature news. Right.
Hot off the
Can
press.
I go first?
Go on then.
Did you say, for the listeners, as I said that, I just wiped sweat out my eye.
He looks so bedraggled.
It's just, I know. Thank you.
No, but like the way you're just wiping sweat off your brow, you're talking slower than usual as well.
Am I?
Yeah.
I set borrowed time. What are we in? 7 minutes in. If we're not done in
episode
14
21,
minutes,
the
mate,
last episode of Nature News.
I will cease to be.
Come on.
1 minute, I've got sun cream in my eye.
Right, look, everybody, you've just witnessed my very, very quick, sharp change from empathetic to, right, you've had enough now. I've given you some empathy. Let's go on.
Right, okay. Right, 5 parrots were separated at a zoo because they kept swearing at each other.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, it's just... Okay, at Lincolnshire Wildlife Park, 5 parrots have had to be separated for swearing at each other and visitors.
Oh, so good. Where is it, sorry?
Lincolnshire Wildlife Park.
I don't think anything ever happened in Lincolnshire. Sorry.
No.
Listeners,
sorry to the Lincolnshire. Well, certainly not with parrots swearing. So Billy, Elsie, Eric, Jade and Tyson.
Oh, they sound like they're going to cause shit.
They were adopted by the park and initially quarantined together before joining a larger colony of 200 grey parrots. It's a lot, isn't it?
They must all be rescued, presumably.
They must be, yeah. That's a big colony, though.
Put them
That's
back.
a loud colony. Put them back.
I don't think they hang around. I don't think in the wild they hang around in a megapod.
Well, they seem to. Is that the collective name?
It's a flock, isn't it?
It's a flock, isn't it?
Okay, I'll Google collective noun for parrot while you,
you do
tell me the
that.
story.
Well, they quickly learned to swear at visitors. Doesn't really say where that came from, and encouraged each other to do so, finding it humorous. To prevent them from teaching this behaviour to other parrots and to avoid further issues with visitors, especially the children, they've been separated and placed in different areas of the park.
Oh, that's so good. Does it give you some of the words?
It doesn't. No.
That's funny.
I just love
I
stories
love
like
the
that.
fact that visitors walking past it. I love the fact that the keepers are like, guys, if we're about to open the doors, if you do this again, this is your last warning.
That's it. Yeah, we've sent you to the back of the colony.
Yeah, you've upset the tigers. Then they can't cope. The cockatoos.
The rhinos are furious, and they've got thick skin, and you still damaged.
Oh my god, this is a bit that could keep on going.
Yeah, it's so. I thought it was lovely, but I actually think they should be stayed together because I'd pay more money to go to that zoo to see 200 parrots
I would
swearing at me.
go to Lincolnshire for that.
Yeah.
That's devastating. Also, a connective noun can be a pandemonium of parrots. A pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
So,
Well,
I bet, is that the bit of news that man pointed you in the direction of?
That's the bit of news
thought that
Man
sounds like
sent
something.
me.
I bet they were man's parrots, and that's her swearing.
She probably taught him.
Yeah.
No, Man sent me that. We're at the dog show, and she said, "Have you seen this?"
Anyway,
just showed me.
I had a story that really made me chuckle, but then when I clicked onto it, it's a paywall, so I can't read it. So I can only give you the headline before I move on to my actual bit of news.
And we've got to fill in the contents.
Killer whales exfoliate each other with homemade scrubbers.
I think I saw
Kelp
this.
loofahs might be the first example of tool making by marine mammals. You don't even need to read the article, do you?
You don't, but I do think we got to draw the line at the phrase tool making.
Do we?
I think we
When
do.
you take a thing you take something and you use it for another thing. Yeah, maybe
That's it.
Yeah, it's
Is
not
that
tool
it?
making.
Is that the definition? So if I slap you with a bit of kelp, you're like, Ryan's improved his tool
I've done
making.
that before.
I have done that.
Such a tool master.
I know, just a craftsman at
Anyway,
art.
if you can access the research magazine journal Nature, you can read that article from the 26th of June.
Well, we will link that. I think it's also on Monga Bay, actually.
Oh, is it?
Nerds, if I can find it on Monga Bay that's not paywalled, I'll link that one on. But I saw that today. It said something about orcas. Also, I think orcas need to wind their necks in a bit.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
either that
we
or
get
they've
it.
just got a really great PR team.
They have got a good PR team, you're right.
Hey nerds, sorry to interrupt the show, it's Ryan here. I just wanted to pop on to tell you something quick. We always want Into the Wild to be a free and accessible show, but it does cost to run this thing. So if you ever have any spare pennies or pounds and you want to chuck it towards your favourite nature, wildlife and conservation podcast, then you can do so by going to www.ko-fi.com/intothewildpod. The link is in the write-up of this episode. Anything you're able to give goes straight back into the shows we produce. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Back onto nature news.
Right, Ryan. From one enigmatic swimmer to another, I don't know, I'm trying to segue. So this is a story that really disturbed me this week, and I don't know whether you've come across it.
Okay.
But this has revealed that a private spy company has been hired to monitor or follow some salmon farm activists. Did you see this story?
I did not see this story, no.
So this broke a couple of days ago, which is private spy company owned by an ex-army guy, someone who was part of the British Army veteran, started this like Big Brother spy company. I didn't know this was legal, but it is.
Well, I didn't know that was illegal. I was just about to say, how is this a thing?
There is actually a regulator. I'm not going to read the whole article because we haven't got time. You're going to die. You're on the clock here. But
We've got another 8 minutes before we're dead.
I've got another story as well. It's never going to happen. So there's a really great guy called, God, I can't remember his name now. Corin Smith. So he's is it Corin Smith? Can't remember the guy. Anyway, he's a wildlife activist who follows Scottish salmon farms to expose the horrible conditions, which most of the salmon that you eat will be from a salmon farm, and they are, raised in these kind of big pens in lochs, Scottish lochs. They're not like in tanks or anything, but they harbour diseases because they live in such close contact.
Yes.
He takes footage of them where they've got like bits of flesh rotted off, but they're still swimming around. The conditions are really grotesque, and so he's been exposing that. There's some salmon farms have been owned by some Russian rich person who's paid the spy company to follow these eco-activists. And I guess it's a really interesting article in The Guardian. I really do recommend that you go read the full article because it's fairly long. But it's just to highlight like the danger of this kind of kind of just spying on ecologists, like environmental activists, I guess. Like we know that climate activists are really getting the strong arm of the law. They're being prosecuted and going to prison for, caring about our planet. But now this kind of like tilt towards environmental activists. So, somebody who's got their interests in, a rich Russian who has got a salmon farm and making money can pay a company to follow and, harass. Ultimately, this guy's basically saying that he was followed, like dropping his kid off and stuff like that. It's meant to be. And also he found a tracking device on his car, right? So I could set up a campaign to do something, environmentally expose something and then have this kind of really hostile action.
Is this being used as scare tactics, basically?
No, I guess it's to expose maybe something that they do where they trip up. And maybe they, to maybe, because the salmon farming kind of environmental exposure work is working. Like, our understanding now of like, when you buy a packet of salmon from Marks and Spencer's or any other supermarket, it says like Scottish salmon, and you imagine this wild salmon doing these huge migratory routes up rivers. No, not at all. And so, it's food for thought. Not salmon food. But yeah, there is I don't know. There is
one of the worst phrases and jokes you've tried to make.
I know. Look, it's hot. I'm using it now. But so other campaigners from Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, other environmental groups, have been followed as well. These really intrusive. I don't know. It's dangerous that our environmental campaigners, our climate campaigners are being watched like this.
It's weird that anyone can be. Like, I don't like that. Like,
I can't remember what it's called somewhere here in the article, but there is an organisation set to kind of monitor this stuff and follow certain rules. But like, it says here in the article that it's a bit of a Wild West. Covert surveillance by state agencies is subject to legislation that includes independent oversight, but once highly trained operatives leave the police, military or intelligence services, the private firms that deploy them are barely regulated, it says here in the article. So do go have a read to get a fuller picture of what's happening there, but just generally the fact that people care about the environment and they want to do something about it.
And they're getting tracked. Oh, disgusting. Disgusting. People in power need to wind their necks in.
I wonder if we're being tapped.
Oh, God, can you
No,
imagine?
hang on, we're not tapped. We put this out to the public.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't take much. Okay, right. My one is a new study reveals a surge in illegal arachnid trade via Facebook in the Philippines.
What is wrong with you? Your stories are...
I bet every word of that headline you did not know was coming.
I want you to retell that headline as if it's a Daily Mail headline so I can understand it.
Tarantulas in the post in the Philippines.
Yeah, there you go.
Naughty.
Special delivery.
So basically, there was an incident in 2019 where custom officers in a post office in the Philippine capital of Manila unwrapped, which looked like kind of just an ordinary parcel from Poland. Inside, they found 757 live tarantulas in plastic containers.
No.
That's so many.
Have you got a
Do you know what I
picture?
mean? No, I wasn't
I can
there.
imagine it in my head.
No, I would imagine they're going to be baby. They're going to be full size, aren't they?
Oh, that's quite cute.
Yeah. If it's still not nice.
No, it's not nice, but...
Yeah, no, Baby Tarantulas, big fan.
Yeah.
In the post, not so much.
Not so much, no.
So they then realised this was not going to be an isolated incident. This is not a one-off. So it's kind of sparked this looking into what's actually going on. So between 2010 and 2019, arachnids were the most frequently confiscated invertebrate in the Philippines, with nearly around 3,000 tarantulas and 1,000 scorpions from more than 40 species being seized. There's a wildlife trade monitor called Traffic. They published a new journal of nature studies highlighting this trend, and they've basically reviewed posts from 5 of the Philippines' most active Facebook groups for live arachnid sales, analysing nearly 7,000 posts from October 2020 to April 2022. They documented the price, the quantity, the species, the seller location, etc., etc. In total, they recorded at least 14,500 tarantulas of 135 species and 1,387 odd scorpions from 25 species across nearly 7,000 posts, just advertising for sales. So the main concern here is a lot of these are going to be captive bred, right? All of these are going to be taken from the wild.
Right.
But and this is tracked in the Philippines. So this is all for the pet trade, right?
Right.
So this is tracked in the Philippines. There is a system set up where any animal, wild animal, that is being brought into the country needs to be permitted, needs to be tracked. It's not enforced. So the regulation is there, that common thing, that the enforcement is not.
Right.
So it's very easy for these things to slip under the net. Now, most of the species are non-native to the Philippines. Some are native, and a lot of species in the Philippines are under CITES listed Annex 2.
Right.
So conservationists are worried about how they can actually track which species are which, where are they being taken from the wild, because they will be, and posted around. And it's just a very muddled system at the moment. So conservationists are worried. There are some more stats here. Let me try and just scroll down.
Do you know what's upsetting me as well? Like, we're talking about the impact of them being taken from the wild, but like the welfare of these poor animals, just what is happening to them?
I know, and you can't track it as well. So the majority of the arachnids recorded in traffic studies were non-native. 96 of the tarantulas and 64% of the scorpions by volume were non-native. Many fall under the trade regulations. Of the 42 arachnid species listed under Global Wildlife Treaty CITES, the study recorded 28 tarantula species and 1 scorpion species being traded online. CITES listings basically means they require proper permits for legal import and export. The top tarantula was the curly-haired tarantula, native to Costa Rica and globally popular in the exotic pet trade. Though they're easy to breed in captivity, it continues to be heavily wild sourced despite being listed under CITES Appendix 2. So I think when I was reading this story, and again, nerds, this is linked, it's a good article to read, it explains everything, but it shows just that same thing we keep going back to, where the enforcement is there, the permitting is there, but the issues are still there as well, and it's not being enforced as much. And I think when you're looking at species, especially when you've got so many...
they're protected on paper, not in reality.
They're protected on paper, not in reality. And I think when we look at invertebrates, of which there are many species, it does get harder to kind of track and trace this kind of thing. If we look at, the lion, where you have 2 main species and maybe a subspecies like the desert lion or something, it's easier to trace that stuff. But when you've got a tarantula of which there are 100 and odd species coming through and being tracked and traced, and some are endangered, some are listed, it just gets so messy. But it's good to know that there are kind of organisations up here that are spotting this, and this one kind of incident, they're going, right, that is not just a random isolated incident, and it's opened up this research to get a bit more data, to maybe call on nations like the Philippines, where there is a heavy demand for it, to start kind of ramping up that enforcement of their own regulations.
Where are the biggest buyers, do we know?
I don't actually.
Who is buying them? What country are the biggest consumers?
Well, they're being sent to the Philippines. I don't know if it's in the Philippines.
Not as like a go there and then off somewhere else.
Well, maybe. I mean, there's a trade in the UK. I know that, and I'd imagine America's got quite a hefty exotic pet
Oh my
trade
gosh,
as well.
we should be able to not let these get through the post.
I know. It's a shame. It's that something you want to keep an eye on. So it's and I can understand, you can so see why conservationists that work with tarantulas and these kind of species, because they're also super important for ecosystems, right? They're pest controllers.
They are.
They're good for like the forest floor
and
as well.
Did you know
it's
spiders? Some research came out. Spiders have been proven to have REM sleep and probably dream.
Well, that's the sweetest thing I've heard this year.
There was some research done where these little spiders, they were like, and they basically, they reckon that they dream.
With all their eyes, fluttering all their eyes.
Anyway, here's a quick one. I'm just going to read a little bit of a headline because we haven't got long. This is an article on nationalgeographic.com, and you can read it yourself to get more information because it's a long, interesting article. But this is the fact that China is building the world's largest national park system. I'm going to read straight from the article. China plans to overtake the United States by building the world's largest national park system, a network of wilderness bigger than Texas. Although China only created its first national park 4 years ago, some 149 years after the US did the same, it claims that by 2035, it will have 49 parks covering 272 million acres, triple that of the US national park system. China has already opened 5 national parks, totaling 57 million acres. Collectively, the parks span alpine peaks, tropical rainforests, remote glaciers, vast deserts, high altitude wetlands. They also protect rare animals like the giant panda, Siberian tiger, and Asian elephant. According to the Chinese government, these parks are also preserving cultural heritage, boosting local economies, and enticing tourists to experience the country's diverse landscape. So I've read through this. Basically, there's a huge push by China, not only to protect these habitats, but to get the tourist market out of Beijing and Shanghai and start getting the wildlife, nature-based tourism to start coming exploring China. And it just seems like 4 years ago, they were like, boom, and it's just exploded. But really, really interesting article about the dish.
I would love to see how that pans out. I want to learn more about that.
The Northeast China, so it lists them. There's the Panda National Park, Giant Panda National Park.
Perfect.
There's the Northeast China Tiger and Leopard National Park.
Brilliant.
There is the oh God, I can't pronounce that. I'm going to give it a go. Sanjianguan National Park, a national park bigger than Florida.
Whoa.
The Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park, China's version of Hawaii. There is the Wuyi Mountains National Park. There is a very disturbing picture of a man dressed as a panda holding a panda baby as part of one of their reintroduction programs, which you've probably seen on the internet. But it's just really, it just seems like a huge project. So let's keep an eye on that and see how that goes.
Yeah, I would love to know how that's going to pan out, and I wonder. Yeah, I'm really
want to go,
intrigued
don't
by
you?
that. I want to go and see this.
I also really want to go.
I like it when a country kind of. I almost feel like, what have you done wrong? What have you done?
Well, we know national parks usually come with a little bit of genocide
Yes.
of indigenous communities, but also just, I guess, in my Western ignorance, the idea of Chinese indigenous communities, I'm like, I don't think I'm aware of any.
Well, no, it's such
a
huge country.
Yeah.
It's so diverse, and it's and one that you don't hear a lot about in that kind of.
So maybe we should
culture.
we contact the Chinese tourist authorities and see whether we could bring, because our audience. If you'd like us to go, just let us know. And then I guess, so yeah, it's a really interesting article. Have a look at that and see how, but also China did this with climate solutions. It was like, right, we're going to nail green energy. And then they've built loads of green energy infrastructure. They do things not by half.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, that's very, very true. Well, that's exciting. Let's keep an eye on that. And maybe in the next couple of months, that'll be one we're updating on.
Yeah, from China.
Episode. Nerds, thanks so much for your patience on this boiling hot episode. It is on my thermometer here. It's 32 degrees. It's insane.
That is so hot.
But thanks for bearing with. A couple of things that we are going to let you know of now. One, next weekend, as you listen to this now, so the 11th, 12th and 13th of July, Nadia and myself are going to be at Global Bird Fair in Rutlandshire in England to do some live podcasts. We've got a live podcast on the Friday, and we've got the Nature Room 101 live happening on Saturday evening on the Osprey stage for the evening entertainment. If you're planning to attend, or you're definitely attending, come over and say hello. Come and watch the live show. It'd be lovely to see you, have a drink, and chat to you all about our nature nerdiness.
Things what we like about nature.
Things that we all like and connect over. It's lovely, isn't it? The other thing that Nadia and I need to announce is after Bird Fair, so after this episode, basically after Nature News Week 22, we're going to be taking a bit of a summer break because Nadia and I have got a lot on. We've got a lot on.
A lot on.
A lot on. So we are going to take a break until the first week of September, so about a month and a half off, to rest a bit, concentrate on some other projects.
I think so.
Including stuff to do with Into the Wild. And then we will be back with a few changes, few updates ready for you in the autumn season. So we've still got one more episode to talk to you, and we'll do a proper, not goodbye, but a bit of a pause and a rest.
Little summer break.
Little siesta for us to not work too hard and actually take some time off. As always, you know where we are on socials. You've all been lovely and engaged on our socials recently, so please keep doing that. It's always lovely to hear from you all. Into the Wild Pod on pretty much everything. If you've got any pounds, pennies, pence, whatever you want to do, chuck it towards your favourite nature podcast. We would love you to do that. It goes straight back into running the shows we produce. And whatever platform you're listening on, if you're able to leave us a review, please do so. It really does help for the show. Until next time, be careful in this heat. I hope it cools down for you wherever you are. Keep cool.
Put on the Factor 50.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a round trees fruit pastel ice lolly, and I intend to have another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that.
See you later, nerds.
Bye.